exciting because we've never had that issue where there weren't enough chairs for a program. So thank you very, very much. This presentation is part of Black History Month. However, it's a reminder again that, you know, we celebrate these things to celebrate culture, to celebrate differences, but also to celebrate the bond that binds us as human beings. And with our Fish and Wildlife Service family, the more we understand and embrace diversity and differences, the stronger we're going to be as an organization / family. Black History Month began in 1976. Does anybody know the name of the organization that founded Black History Month in 1976? So you're getting on Jeopardy and ask this question. Here's the answer. It's the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, and the acronym is ASALA, A-S-A-L-A. And then Black History Month is to celebrate the contributions and accomplishments of African Americans in our country. And Queen Quet and I had a discussion. There's two terms. Some folks say African American History Month. Some folks call it Black History Month. And Queen Quet and I both agreed that Black History Month in that term is more encompassing of more cultures that fall within Black culture. Does that make sense? So, I mean, I'm by myself using the terms interchangeably because on the President's Proclamation and the official name of the celebration is National African American History Month. Along with celebrating accomplishments, we also have to remember that there are struggles. Folks give up a lot of stuff so we can advance, and there's a lot of injustices. We have a very guest speaker today who knows the struggles to preserve a culture. She tirelessly fights to ensure that her people are recognized as individual culture and that their land remains under their control. Next, I'm going to bring Dave Viker up. He's the one responsible for this wonderful speaker that we have here today. He began the dialogue, and there are a lot of other folks that helped. And again, it's that Fish and Wildlife Service team collaboration that made this possible today. So thank you very much, Dave. And thank you so much for your help earlier today.
This is exciting. I was told that this is the largest crowd we've ever had for any presentation here in the past. So this is great. You ever had a conversation with someone either at a coffee shop or it's an old relative or someone you just met and 4 minutes turns into 40? It was like that with Queen Quet and I. We started talking about how we can better interpret the Gullah Geechee culture along the coast of South Carolina and Georgia. And what seemed like 4 minutes on the phone was 40 minutes. And we were just exchanging ideas and talking about our roots. And we had so much in common as individual people, and so much we wanted to share, about cultures. Two objectives in bringing Queen Quet here for a very special presentation. One is just to celebrate a wonderful culture and just raise all of our awareness of Gullah Geechee culture. And another is very specific. We have 10 national wildlife refuges in the historic range of the Gullah Geechee that goes from Jacksonville, Florida, up to Jacksonville, North Carolina, along the coast. And we ought to find out ways, whether it's engineering, refuges, fish hatcheries, ES offices, or other offices. How can we better represent that unique culture along the coast? Much like the Cajuns in South Louisiana, the Gullah Geechee people live interdependently with the land and have for a couple of centuries. Well, I don't want to get into my excitement about the culture. She's going to cover that really well. But I'd like to introduce Queen Quet. And it's taken a lot of practice, but over the years I've gotten better about speaking without notes. But when you learn more about Queen Quet, and she's so accomplished, I couldn't possibly do it from memory. So I just want to share that Queen Quet is a published author, lecturer, computer scientist, mathematician, historian, columnist, preservationist, and as you'll soon find out, art activist, so to speak. She's appeared in and consulted for over a dozen full-length feature films, on down to historic documentaries.
Queen Quet is founder of the premier advocacy organization for the Gullah Geechee culture, the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition. She helped pass the Gullah Geechee Preservation Act in 2006, provided over $10 million over 10 years for the preservation and interpretation of historic sites related to the Gullah Geechee culture. Queen Quet was the first Gullah Geechee person to speak on behalf of her people in front of the United Nations, and she spoke in Geneva, Switzerland. She's one of the first 7 inductees into the Gullah Geechee National Hall of Fame. She's a member of the National Park Service's Relevancy Committee. Queen Quet received an Anointed Spirit Award for her leadership and for being a visionary. Queen Quet is engaged in several White House conferences. She's provided histo-musical presentations throughout the world, heard in countries like Australia, China, Germany, Mexico, the Bahamas, Canada, England, and various countries in Africa. Queen Quet was elected by her people to be the first Queen Mother and official spokesperson for the Gullah Geechee Nation. As a result, she's respectfully referred to as Queen Quet, Chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation, and Head of State. And as such, it's appropriate for us to stand and welcome her to the room.
It's just oh so long crying, Lord, Lord, give we more time for crying. I've been it's just so this your honey this your honey time crying Lord, Lord, give we more time for cry. I've been in this your storm so long. Afternoon. How the children did it? How did they do it? For sure? And no man is good. How fun is it? Okay. He been on one too, but he's good. Yeah, no, the rest of y'all. No, and plenty of children in the gathering, things like that. We are back home. All of them through this your line. They behind this year. But you know what I mean? Maybe the children are going to be on this side, no? And he's your mom and things like that. Every day. Or see you. Maybe they'll come up, yo. They'll come. Where is the 1900 and things like that? For that. But down. Put your all in the tent. Well, I'm going to run sock food. Down on hard snack. And down on that soap wine. And whatever else a place like that. And down with people, daily run to chuckle, water, see on, seeing something, things like that. Some children come to the side. Up, people that thing like that. One walking there. He had breath walk from right there, where it at. But you want to change up. What kind of men to do? And I'm going to do this show and things like that. That heal us, the ancestors, and bring up. But I teach you, I can Gullah, Igbo, and I think a Linky, Yoruba, Gullah, Geechee, Mendi, Tembi, and Feet, all these other rest of the country. Carry, Troy them, and these your players from the day now on the sea islands. Once we were there, in extra line, we were called Chikra. See, because the young people saw what they used to them, that was them at practice. Tell that you're gonna come down. Walk right there. They don't call this your thing, Caroline. That gal you are, you be named Caroline and a princess, you know. And just like that, change up your people down there. Change up your name with them. call me all no wood and easy. But I got on and the wife just call me slave. Slave baby never we need. And then like that. And try to treat me like we ain't been enough. Like when we done down this shop Carolina poor, the husband blew up and just ruined it. They treat me like we been enough. But see, we done know say, hey, damn man, you know, we need to go. So they got me and throw me there and throw all of me together. All the people that party think so. Get in or not. But you are. Throw it together. You better have everything. Wait a minute. And so all of you know one thing. We done cut it in. Sullivan on it, Yonah and whatever called Charleston now. We knew us. What nigga? We done did it together. We want to get together. We want to be together. So we have to learn one another and things like that. Now fight against one another. And when dominant, then we one back now one another. So they stand together. Oh, I know who we know. Even if the other turn, crack it down and call me something, you know what we done. We been done. We done. Who go up and agree with me? You know what thing we done there? They've been right over here, things like that. But I'm done in Asia, here, see, called black hole. But true, because bring in all this your richness. And know another thing. Here's the black girl one day. Be bored and tea. I've been tea somewhere. Gonna go of course, but true. And then like that. Call your name. Tea somewhere we take tea somewhere we people. We ain't been doing that. All of what been going. They had this year. Wrong there too. I don't y'all know what this stuff. What is it? Rice. Yes, sir. Say it louder. Rice. Rice. Where am I from?
Where am I from?
Mm-hmm.
North Georgia.
Okay then. So you now put that shit.
Perhaps.
You eat them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you know. I know that girl they eat them too, but she wanna see kind of the rest of the thing of being forward. Because when I rice not come like a dish, ain't it not come like a dish, ain't it? No, not all, ain't it? Because see the husk still deep on this. You see, you're not now upon them like this, you crack up your mouth like that. Okay, so you have to get the husk off. That way you're gonna, what? Even when hands say right, you lean forward to me. They can't be right, so they look at that and want to see how So you see, they're going to dust. Some of the children stay. Can't see, can't. You better walk in this way now, put that thing down, y'all. Please, y'all. Don't mind, y'all. I want to take a picture of you. Okay. So now, you ain't want me for tea when I them off the people who divorce and things like this. And get on a federal ticket for tea off the thing. So please, y'all. So now, when we better walk in this year, call them Carolina Gold. And y'all say that? Carolina Gold. Because see, not only because it's your house, and it's your color. And all that shiny thing. And the other rest of people call it anything else. So just like them in the call me the black gold, black car, and thing like that. But put more shiny thing in the pocket. And red of us. Throw this in there. How much I'm gonna tell me y'all done get here, walk them off. Y'all yet to walk them off? Yeah. Where you at about it?
I don't know.
You ain't know? Where you know what Guacamole?
South Carolina.
Oh, that all on the nose. In South Carolina.
Yeah.
Well, right long, down the coast of waterway and things like that. All along Guacamole. This your thing in the book. Guacamole was going into this community called Georgetown. In South Carolina. It ain't Georgetown. They've been buckets. Carolina Rice School and County. All of the colony. It got tons and thousands, tens of thousands of tons of this year going all across the world from that Bahama. Even it did. 100 travel up this year highway. Used to call them the King Highway. Now 100 call them Highway 17. Line up that thing there like that. When you get wrong sometimes, you look off in the marsh. You see some to volunteer, but it's still a growing, still a way and on the journey and things like that. You know, back of your that thing once it starts for growing up, you can never get no peace on that thing. Because see, you have to know when to let that thing flood up with the water. And then on have to know when the trunk miner have to go in for this trunk thing, but I want people going up to understand. But when I want to go in up, grab, then that thing make me vex you. Because that means we have to go in it. And when you go in it, now you can be money down. You have to go in and all this your please. And you know who else there in there when you get in there? Yeah, you know what that is. All that kind of audio, regular, all that kind of thing, watermarks, and all that love of the right speed. We want to let them do the work. So then, you used to go out and join a two, and then did it, a time like on another. The boiling, the cleaning, and now for the rice. The boiling, the cleaning, now for the rice. So after a while, we have to make sure, man, the thing used to shoot up the thing, but make sure that thing come out of me. And have to shoot up the thing. Can't look at me, we on, y'all. Okay. So now, after a while, the boiling thing did it. They did it. Then, rather was than leave, rather thing. Cut it all wrong. So imagine how I did it. The walking is shut in. They're clean. It does. Better we answer to them. Go on dead. Yo. Because get the morning and then one of the belongs. So walking all this shit moisture all the time. And rather was. What you want? This year what we've been in Nayshun back here in Gullah. Well, I get about call them Africa today. What you going to do? When I walk there, and my dog and thing was naked, there's blood streaming down. And you know what the blood did? All kind of the rest kind. But be right there too. So what you going to do? Oh, yeah, sisters there. Anytime they be weary, well, all of it, I'm true. And rather was with family thing, when we get settled, and rather was with family give away like a gift. And people would wait at them. So sometime in the evening, they would get together. Alongside the women, you see, and they were like that. And they would get together and sing something good on the spirituality. Down in South Carolina State music now. Because they all sense it. We didn't create that thing. Long time. The 1600s to now, when we been did it. See, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, you see, you could have kept the show going on, you don't know. That's the thing when we been know, see, when spirit, you could have wine in and put it out, and spirit feel like this show. About the time they all the spirit was right on the see how they know nothing but that. See how y'all listen. Come in like this here, you laugh. Well, you know, when I'm going to other rest place, this your thing, when it'll grow on the thing. That's why you have to have a trunk. You can't have all that kind of water, what they all around the sea islands. If I say we live in the Atlantic Ocean, what kind of water that? Salt water. This your thing can't grow. You got some. What kind of water underneath? What kind? And what some other kind? What other kind? Who knows? You know, salt and grass, great. No, I can bring for you. I got all in the bag. We gonna lay on hands. Y'all need help in so now, what is your? Boy, you know what this is. Cotton. This is cotton called Sea Island cotton. Sea Island cotton is long grain cotton. And it's the same thing when you go out on it to the deep south and things like that. That one's shorter grain down along in Mississippi and Texas and places. But see, we Sea Island cotton, the opposite of this year. What has been? Right. What kind? Let go. What kind of gold? Take your man. One student get it. Carolina gold. Right, he said, too late. That's wrong. Okay. Carolina go. But the Sea Island cotton, if I say, into the opposite of that, what he like? This one don't grow in what? But what he like? Like the songs. See, the Sea Island cotton, whenever you carry this thing, and the seed and things that deep sauce and things like that, we ain't gonna grow it. Ain't like a tall around the Gulf and things like that. They ain't got that sand, salt in there. Something about it make that thing grow so long, pretty, and things like that. This your thing that tells me, say, begin the chromatic cotton, or 100 children call it Egyptian cotton. Say the seed of it been a part of that family there. So this young, and that they yarn, and blood of us, that indigo, and the street cash crop, or build an infrastructure, or all of 100 years ago we did, all the Gullah Geechee Nation, from Jacksonville, North Kakalaki, all the way down to Jacksonville, Florida, and 30 to 35 miles inland to the St. John River. And new law there. These your what? If you don't get it, these your what? Raise your hand. Walk them off. So, oh, ain't but one man not yet, walk them off. If one of them yet, walk them off, raise your hand. You haven't had that word before? Raise your hand. So, oh, you still not going to ask you something else?
Because what? Walk them off South Carolina.
You haven't had the word Savannah? Raise your hand. You haven't had the word Santee? Raise your hand. Yeah. So now, one of them yet, all of them what that? What do you mean the 100? What that word mean? Places. Places. Y'all agree with that? Yes. What else? Anybody else? Other than places?
Rivers.
Rivers. Rivers. Anything else?
Peoples.
Peoples. What kind of peoples?
Indians.
Early people. Somebody else say. Geechee people. Any. So early Geechee indigenous people that live on the rivers in different places, along in the coastal waterway, truly Gullah Geechee Nation. And I went to look on all of this shit, and I said, oh, that shit, I said, no, we done did anything like that. So I get in on that crack with teeth like this shit, they gonna stand everything, God, it's gonna be a time in there. And then I get in on the children and looking. So I think if I spoke this way, it might help you out. Just a little. But so can you imagine what those early people went through when they encountered the people that were coming from other lands, other continents, that were different than who they were. They weren't Geechee. And so when we done crack our teeth like that, they said we tore down straight out the board and thing like that and moved around it itself. Understand? But they don't understand all. See, he done say, yeah, you done say no, boy, y'all done say no. She said, I got my keywords with you, understand? Understand? And so that has been the thing from 1600 and approximately 70 is when they start talking about the Africans that were my ancestors coming in and now having these interrelationships with people who bore these same names: Wakama, Savannah, Chikra, Eddie Stowe. You see, all of these names that are places were people's places. Datar, Palawana, these were indigenous groups already here that then said to the Africans, who are the Igbo, Mandinka, Malinke, Yuliba, Gullah, Gizi, Mendi, Tebi, Fiki, Bibio, those people that are doing this to you, that brought you here, are on our land. Help us fight them. And then all of them who did started being called Seminole. Because that wasn't an indigenous name, but it wasn't early people. But it was just that it was a group of the Gullah Geechees and the indigenous that now combined those names. All of those names I named above became part of what is now called the Seminole Nation. But the division of it that they often call Afro-Seminole or Black Seminole. They are all part of the Gullah Geechee diaspora. Gullah Geechees have been scattered more than one time. First by our ancestors who were indigenous to the motherland being kidnapped, some being dropped off in the Caribbean and others being brought, as I said to you earlier, but maybe you didn't get it, to Sullivan's Island in Charleston, South Carolina. The place where over 40% of all Africans enslaved in North America came through. So when you talk about Cape Romaine, anybody here ever heard of that? Raise your hand. If we talk about Cape Romaine, what does it mean to you? It means Arndal to you. She said it means home to me. What does it mean to anybody else here? I know it ain't everybody in here home because y'all almost got the whole population of Arndal in this room right now. What does it mean? Protection of habitat, Sherry said. Anything else? It means a loss of somebody's job because they don't know what it means. We need to get rid of some people there. I thought I'd hear a little more to that. It is also a what? Wow! It's also a national wildlife refuge. But the people who do that job didn't know. Wow! I gave you an easy one that time. But her answer is also my answer. It's home. It's home. So when the folks come in, and I noticed y'all were very selective about your attire today. I don't see the little things on your chest here. In the office, she got, oh, they're on their badges. I'm looking for your little wildlife thing to see it. That one. So usually when folks show up around our area with that on, folks start feeling like, oh, right? She nodding her head, like, oh, what they want? What they coming for? What they telling us? We ain't on their property. Folks feel like that. Because it's been so many years and so many generations where folks have said, well, them people who come in here with that thing on their shirt, they're the government people, and they gonna run you. So they feel like you're running them away as opposed to bringing them in. And so I don't feel bad that with my college educated self, I decided to look up the word refuge. Because y'all look like y'all that needed to look it up. Because in our area, I'm sure any of you who ever worked in any of the places we've already named that are part of your refuge system, you may have never encountered Gullah Geechees until you went to the store shopping or went to some event or festival, right? Y'all ain't gonna see me coming through the wood and things like that in the morning. But yet all of these places and spaces were places where we actually lived. We raised our families. People's babies were caught by the midwives. Their placenta lays in that land. These are the places that were plantations that are now there as places that are supposed to be protected for all of the American public. But are you protecting it for us or from us? Becomes our question. Because when you're a native there, if you step foot cross on your grandmama property, what deal right next to the refuge thing, you see these people are coming with their feet on their shoes. You say, oh my God, we always gonna play up anything like that when I pick my grandma's house and thing when we be little and all of the things, and wine over y'all, anything like that. We used to swim up in the tree and all that kind of thing like that. And now these cracky people are trying to tell me how to go. When? So now people wonder about which answer is it? Is it protected for us or from us? Because it doesn't seem like it's for us, because then all of us should go into it and still feel like it's home. And not feel like, that's them people over there, and this is we over here. And when we talk about these areas, for us, they've always been a refuge, because they were the wilderness in which we were seeking for spiritual growth and guidance. Before we went in Praise House and things like that, now before we joined the church and things like that, that's the place where we've been going out, children. And that's why we had that spiritual say, how do you feel? Come out to wilderness, come out to wilderness, come out to wilderness, how do you feel? Come out to wilderness, leaning on the Lord. Sister, don't make these people just hold your spirit down and you're sing. But she walked in out there hurt herself. Up in the front, let them not bless you. You see? So when we came out the wilderness, we came out spiritually, but never thought anyone would say you can't go back in. So for us, it became a question. What are those places? What does that mean?